Well, what was already the longest race of the season turned into the longest race weekend of the season as racing was pushed all the way to Monday for both the Xfinity and Cup Series drivers. The Truck Series, they had their action on Friday night, and we're going to go over all three races, including, of course, Denny Hamlin versus Chase Elliott, the incident on the front straightaway. We're going to discuss the news of Chase Elliott's suspension as well as the opportunity for the drivers that is replacing him. And it all starts on this episode of Three Wide. So, before we dive into this week's episode, let me tell you about our presenting sponsor, Hunt to Harvest. If you're looking to update or upgrade your hunting apparel, then hunttoharvest.com is where you need to go. And right now, you can go check out their amazing spring 2023 collection where they have numerous shirt designs for both turkey hunters as well as multiple types of fishing. They are also having a sale right now on their long sleeve shirts. So, if you're looking to get a head start on your winter collection, then hunttoharvest.com, they got you ready to go. They still have that mystery box special going on where for $33, you can get 3 shirts chosen at random sent to you. And for just $11 a shirt with this high quality product you're getting, you're not going to find a better deal anywhere else. So head on over to huntharvest.com. Be sure to use that promo code at checkout, RADNEY18923. That's RADNEY 18923 for even more savings at checkout. And if you want to go straight to the source, just click on the link below in the description. It'll take you right to the website, and that's hunttoharvest.com. All right, so kicking off the race weekend was the Truck Series on Friday night, and this was the only race that they actually got done in the scheduled time that they had. You had Ben Rhodes come away with his first win on the season. He led 37 laps in the race. Wasn't one of the stronger trucks, but his team was able to get him out in front. He got in that clean air and he just took off. So big win for Ben Rhodes here to get himself in the playoffs. But to me, the most impressive drive of the night was Dean Thompson, who came away with his first career top five, finishing in third. And this wasn't a fluke top five for Dean either. He finished third in both stage one and stage two. He was a solid truck all night long, didn't lead any laps, but still, this is huge for Dean and his development. It's only his second career top 10, first top five. Like I said, he's going to need more runs like this. And in some cases, he's been caught up in stuff out of his control. But tonight, he was able to put it all together and show what he's capable of. Now, the race before Ben Rhodes went up there and crashed the party, it looked like it was going to be a big battle between Corey Heim and Carson Hocevar. Corey, he led 49 laps, Hocevar 43. They swapped stage wins in stage one and two. And again, another Charlotte win escapes Carson Hocevar, who, in my opinion, looked like he had the strongest truck overall. But still, solid night for him. He kept it clean. He's still showing maturity, still showing growth. He's keeping his nose clean and just coming away with solid finishes, which is what he needs. You also had drivers like Christian Eckes come away with a sixth place finish, so able to build off some momentum from that win. You have Ty Majeski coming away with another top 10, seventh place. Matt DiBenedetto, eighth. Nick Sanchez with another solid top 10 for this rookie, a ninth place finish, and Taylor Gray in 10th. Some other solid finishes, Rajah Caruth in 11th, Bailey Curry, 13th, and David Gilliland, who made a return to the driver's seat, he finished in 14th place. And this was a decent truck race, nothing too crazy. Uh, Definitely a much more quiet race that's exactly what they needed. So the Xfinity race that was supposed to be on Saturday obviously rained out. It ultimately was moved to Monday morning before the Cup race. And when they got out there to run it, they gave it their best effort to start the race, but the mist, it was just too heavy. They lost the track and it got moved to after the Cup race. So either way, these teams were going to be in for a long day, especially teams and drivers pulling double duty. But to run it after 600 miles, I mean, I couldn't even imagine doing that, especially for like the truck drivers and the team members having to get ready to turn right around and go to Portland. But Justin Allgaier, he comes away with the race win, the first for Junior Motorsports this year. Justin Allgaier wins yet another race, I believe I heard, for his seventh year in a row. And he was, again, one of the top cars, as Junior Motorsports has been at Charlotte Motor Speedway. He led the most, 83 laps. John Hunter Nemechek finished second, leading 57. Cole Custer third. Austin Hill in fourth. Ty Gibbs fifth. And how about Jordan Anderson Racing? Parker Retzloff and Jeb Burton finished sixth and seventh. Carson Hocevar, impressive again in another Xfinity start, finishing in eighth. Brandon Jones ninth, and Sammy Smith 10th. And what I like most about this race is it was setting up to be, or it really was, a fuel mileage race. Austin Hill, he was the one to look to be in the best position if the leaders ran out of gas. Allgaier and even Chet Custer, they were trying to stretch it. Hill, he had already stopped, gotten fresh tires, and he was flying around the track. You also had Parker Retzloff stretching it there at the end. If Austin Hill hadn't stopped and the guys in front of him had kept going and ran out of fuel, it would have been an even bigger day for Parker. So it was a really entertaining race. I enjoy these fuel mileage races. It's kind of the unknown, not really knowing what's going to happen. Is this guy going to make it all the way? I mean, Allgaier was running probably half speed coming to the checkered flag. Some other top finishers of note: Kyle Sieg, he finishes in 11th. A good run for him in that 28 car. You had a little bit of a sour finish for drivers like Chandler Smith and Riley Herbst, Josh Berry, both finishing 13th, 14th, 15th, respectively. But a solid finish for Josh Williams, who came home in 18th. So I would rank this race probably as the second best of the weekend. The Cup Series race absolutely blew all the racing this weekend out the door, and that includes the F1 race at Monaco and the Indy 500. Even though the Indy 500 was decent, I feel like this Cup race again delivered for the second year in a row with this next gen car at Charlotte Motor Speedway. It was a top notch race and leading to even more calls for the Roval to be done away with and then go back to the oval for the fall race. And when all was said and done, you had Ryan Blaney coming through, snapping that 59 race winless streak, getting his first Crown Jewel event win. This was huge for Blaney, and he was honestly the best car all day long. He led 163 laps. He had to battle William Byron there at the end, but Blaney was ultimately able to close it out, get that weight off his shoulder, and lock himself into the playoffs. Whereas last year, he was sweating it until the end, wondering if he was going to even make it on points while he was second in the standings. So now it's going to be interesting. Where does Blaney go from here? Can he get back to his 2021 form and win multiple races? I believe he can. I think this win is going to be a huge confidence booster. The fact that it's snapped the winless streak, it is a crown jewel race, and he was able to close it out. This is probably one of the more dominant wins in Blaney's short career so far. So I expect him to build off of it and start knocking out some more wins, looking more like he did just a couple of years ago. William Byron, he was just as impressive. He had a solid car all day long, led 91 laps, won stage one, and was always right there in the mix from beginning to end. So a good solid day again for Byron. And for William, I mean, he had the finish that he needed, and he has been on a tear ever since Talladega. He's had a top 10 in the last five races, seventh, a fourth, a third, a win at Darlington, and then second on Monday at Charlotte. And I'm glad to see Byron make this turnaround because it was looking more and more like last year in repeat mode. After he gets these early season wins, he kind of falls off. He struggled after the win at Phoenix, but able to get some consistency back under him. He's already got more top fives than he had last year. So William Byron looking more and more like a championship four pick. You also have Martin Truex Jr. finishing third. Bubba Wallace, Tyler Reddick, they finished fourth and fifth, getting both 2311 cars in the top five. And Bubba Wallace made one heck of a drive there in the last stretch of the race. Restarted, I believe, in 14th and was able to drive right through the field and get to fourth. Tyler Reddick, I think he had probably one of my favorite paint schemes of the weekend. It was basic. It was that, had the Jordan logo on the car and the North Carolina blue. It was a simple paint scheme and it worked. And I really enjoyed seeing that. Kyle Busch, he comes home sixth. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. finishing in seventh. That is huge for this team. He was able to lead a handful of laps, but Ricky was up in the top 10 pretty much all day. He got stage points in stages one and three. Didn't finish in the top 10 in stage two, but even still, it seemed like all night long he was up in between sixth and 10th. So a good, strong finish for him. Chris Buescher in eighth, and that's after getting a win in stage two. So a solid points night for Buescher. Austin Dillon finished in ninth, and Zane Smith got his first career top 10, finishing in 10th. And that's what I love about this 600-mile race is it's kind of like a super speedway, just less chaotic. You still have the attrition. It's a matter of just getting to the end. You have your incidents that take out the big names. Drivers may start off the race, in the daytime as one of the top cars, but when it transitions to night, you see a whole different set of cars up towards the front. It's all a matter of keeping up with the adjustments. But Ron Blaney's team was able to handle that, keep him up front all night long. Some other finishers of note: Alex Bowman finishing in 12th in his first race back since his injury. Ryan Priest finishing in 13th. His teammate Kevin Harvick finished 11th. Starting out the race, Stewart Haas Racing looked to be in a mess, and a lot of people were pointing it out on social media. I I tend to, didn't want to, join the crowd in being like this. Stewart Haas Racing is just looking terrible right now, simply because, like I just said, it's a 600-mile race. It's going to go through its transitions. A lot can change, even though somebody may be running, in the back 30 of the running order by the end of stage 1 or 2. They are nowhere near out of it because they still got a long way to go and a lot of time to adjust the car. Uh, You had AJ Allmendinger, Justin Haley with some solid top 15 finishes for Colleague Racing. JJ Yeley getting 16th in that Rick Ware Racing car. Solid run for him all night long. Corey LaJoy 17th. Harrison Burton 18th. Nothing to write home about, but still good finishes for those teams, especially Burton. He's slowly cranking out the top 20s, and that's exactly what he needs for his growth. And Brad Keselowski finishing in 19th. I feel like he could have been up there in the top 10 with Busher. He had some decent speed, got caught up in a couple incidents that took away from the race, but still, that RFK Racing, that team's looking like they're on the upward swing. But of course, we got to talk about the big storyline of the race, which was Chase Elliott and Denny Hamlin. And I really go in depth on it on my YouTube video, and you can click on the link in the description if you want to watch that video. You had Chase get run up into the wall by Denny Hamlin, and as soon as Chase gets it off the wall, they're coming down the front straightaway. Chase takes a dead left and turns Denny Hamlin head on into the wall. And this set off a firestorm of comments on social media. Fans immediately going to the defense of Chase Elliott. You know, Fans also saying, look, this is unacceptable. This is much like the Bubba Wallace Kyle Larson deal at Vegas. And saying, will NASCAR suspend Chase Elliott? Now it's come out now. NASCAR has suspended Chase Elliott for this weekend's race at Gateway. And I believe that's the right call. I think Chase should have been suspended with this move just because even though Chase tried to use the defense of once you hit the right side of these cars, they're just undrivable. The same defense that Bubba Wallace used at Las Vegas last year after he right reared Kyle Larson into the outside wall. But the SMT data is there to show what Chase's throttle was doing, what his brake was doing, what his steering was doing, as Denny Hamlin shared on Twitter. And the whole defense of you had no control of the car. What I find funny is after you right rear Hamlin into the wall, collect yourself even more, you're still able to drive the car around the track, make it around the corners, go completely straight down the back straightaway, and make it back to your pit stall with no problem. So to me, that's a poor excuse for doing that. Um, I to me, there is no excuse for right rearing a guy into the wall. That needs to be an automatic suspension. NASCAR started this precedent last year with Bubba, and they're showing some consistency. So I applaud them for that. It's just unfortunate this even had to happen. Period. It's led to this big divide in the fan base. Now you got Chase Elliott sitting home for a week, and we just need to stop with this right rearing because we are going to get somebody seriously hurt before all is said and done. You could see the in-car camera on Denny Hamlin's head, how his head is just getting thrown around. Talked about how beat up his neck was. If all it takes is one small thing for this to go horribly wrong, make it even worse. You know, Denny's head in a different position, the car hit at a different angle. God forbid something loose on Denny Hamlin's equipment, and you got something catastrophic on your hands. We need to quit right rearing these guys each other. I don't care what track it's at. I don't care if it's Bristol, Martinsville, Lowe's, Atlanta, wherever. It needs to stop. And I don't care what drivers are involved. I don't care if it's flip flop and it was Denny Hamlin that did this to Chase. I'd be having the same speech. Now, fans defending Chase for this, I think really need to take a serious hard look at their defense of it. You know, swap drivers. How would you feel about it if Denny Hamlin right reared somebody in the wall? Or let's just take some neutral parties. Say it was Austin Dillon and Chris Buescher, and they could be either or. How would you feel about it? You know, if you're going to be, and people were using, some of the excuses were like, well, it's different from Bubba because Bubba chased Larson down the track at Vegas to take him out. And that may be the case. So, because the racetracks are different, it should be looked at different because Las Vegas is a wider front straightaway and has a apron you can go down on because they weren't in as much traffic as Chase and Denny were. I mean, to me, that makes no sense of defense, honestly. Um, you had fans saying that, well, Brad Keselowski turned Chase into Denny Hamlin. But when you look at the overhead shot, it's clear as day. Brad didn't make contact with Chase until Chase took a left into Denny Hamlin's right rear. So hopefully Chase and Denny hash this out. This needs to be discussed. Um, this is going to be the storyline at least for the next 2 weeks. Denny Hamlin's going to be getting a ton of questions this weekend. Chase Elliott's going to get even more when he comes back. It's going to be interesting to see how these guys move forward with this. Um, but on the plus side of this incident, you have Corey LaJoy, who is getting the opportunity that he has been waiting for. His fans have been waiting for. He is getting the shot to drive Chase Elliott's number 9 car. And this is a huge chance for Corey to finally show what he can do. We all know Corey's got talent. Now he's going to have the opportunity to get behind the wheel of a top tier ride and show what he can do. So I'm not putting it out of the realm of possibility that Corey can come away with a top 10, maybe sneak a top 5. Who knows? I don't know what to expect from Corey. If he goes out there and does get a win, then that locks him in the playoffs. So I expect him to go out there, be safe with this 9 car. You don't want to tear it up, but he knows he's going to have to go out there and show something to catch other teams' eyes or bigger teams' eyes. Maybe not for 2024, but down the road in 2025 season. I, I expect Corey to have one heck of a run on Sunday, and I look forward to seeing him in this car, seeing what he can do. And you also now have Carson Hocevar, who's going to fill in for Corey LaJoy in that 7 car, and this is a huge bump up for Carson. He's only made a handful of Xfinity starts. He's had some issues in the truck series showing with maturity and making decisions. He's getting better at that. And is he ready for a Cup Series start? Um, Carson has a ton of talent. This is going to be an amazing opportunity for him. I think he does better than Josh Berry did in his first race in the 9 car, simply because Josh was just tossed into it on that opening weekend that he had to fill in for Chase. He didn't get any prep time, nothing. He was just thrown into the fire. Whereas Carson, he's got a little bit more time to adjust. He's got time to be around the team, to get the car fit right for him, and maybe get some sim time, study up. He's going to be able to do all that. So to me, it's not out of question that he might be able to get a top 25 out of this. But it's going to be interesting. Those are going to be the 2 guys that everyone's going to be looking at this upcoming Sunday, and I can't wait to see how these guys perform on Sunday. So now looking ahead to this weekend's races, you have the Truck Series and Cup Series at Gateway. Meanwhile, the Xfinity Series, they will be back in Portland for the second year in a row. And this Portland race is going to be really interesting. Last year, AJ Allmendinger won it in what was a very messy race, very wet. He was able to come away with the victory. Mike Snyder finished in second in that 31 Jordan Anderson car and led 19 laps, actually won a stage. So Jordan, he is making the return this weekend, actually driving the number 19 car for Joe Gibbs Racing. And this is a car that's already been to victory lane with Ryan Truex at Dover. So it's not crazy to say that Mike Snyder could be a threat to get the race win. Also, you got Jordan Taylor, who will be running the 10 car for Colleague Racing. I think he's going to be very strong and very tough to beat. Colleague won last year's race. We know how good Jordan Taylor is on these road course races. So keep an eye on those 2 guys. If you're looking for an upset, I think those are the 2 guys you got to circle. Austin Hill, he finished 3rd last year. He was strong. Didn't lead any laps, but was very strong through the stages and throughout the course of the race, as well as Josh Berry and Justin Allgaier, who's no slouch at road course races. He could very easily get back-to-back wins. Shifting our gears to Gateway, to St. Louis with the Truck Series. Corey Heim, he's the defending winner from last year's race. Christian Eckes finished 2nd last year. And I think it's going to be much of the same. Ben Rhodes is going to be one to watch. He was strong last year. He led the most laps. could Ben Rhodes go back to back? It's going to be interesting to watch, but keep an eye on Corey Heim, Christian Eckes. I think Corey Heim's been really strong here lately, ever since his win at Martinsville, and the same with Christian Eckes. He has had a little rough stretch after his win in Atlanta, but he's starting to pick up a little bit of momentum. Look for him to come out just to have a good day at Gateway. And for the Cup Series, this is their second time running at the track. Logano won last year's race. Kyle Busch finished second, Kurt Busch third. I honestly do not know what to expect out of this race, to be honest with you, because last year was very much a mixed bag. You had the big back and forth between Denny Hamlin, Ross Chastain, and Chase Elliott. I think Ross is going to be someone to put up a fight for the race win this year. Uh, didn't have the strongest run at the Coke 600, but I think he gets back to it this weekend. Um, Logano, Penske cars, and Ford in general, they've been so hit and miss. I don't really want to say he's going to be look for him to repeat, but who knows? I mean, Ryan Blaney finished fourth last year and coming off a win. Who knows what that could do for him? Um, One guy I'm interested to see is Austin Cindric, and another guy while I'm thinking about is Chase Briscoe. For Cindric, he led quite a few laps last year. Led 26 laps, won the first stage, was very strong, finished 11th, as I said. And Chase Briscoe is another guy to watch. He started on the pole, led the first 27 laps, and Chase has been one of those guys. They just got hit with a heavy penalty, I know, but Chase this year and Stewart Haas Racing in general, they haven't had a lot of speed. They have shown their struggles, but Briscoe has been the guy that can really squeeze out a solid finish. He may, and a lot of it's due to his pit crew has helped him out a lot this year, but Chase is still out there on the track making it happen and taking advantage of what his pit crew gives him. So keep an eye on Briscoe. I'm not saying he's going to be a race winning contender, but look for him. I mean, I think he could have a very strong day and can come away with a good finish. And that'll wrap up this week's episode of Three Wide. As always, thank you for joining me and listening along. I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their week. Don't forget, go down to the description of this episode. You can find our YouTube channel. Head over there, check out our video where we break down the Code 600 as well as go more in depth on the Denny Hamlin versus Chase Elliott incident. Also, you can find the link to our sponsor, Hunt to Harvest. Let them know we sent you. And as I said, hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their week. We will meet back same time next week and go over all the action for both Gateway and Portland.